The NFL, where the Seattle Seahawks are reportedly signing quarterback Devon Witherspoon to a 4-year, $132 million contract extension. That is per multiple reports. That deal reportedly includes more than $101 million in guaranteed money. Witherspoon has made the Pro Bowl in each of his first 3 seasons in the league, and last year he was named second-team All-Pro, helping the Seahawks win the Super Bowl. So we welcome in our NFL analyst, Emery Hunt here. I'll just go to you. What's the initial reaction to this deal?
One is just always shocking to see the numbers. Emily, I don't know what your contract is with us at CBS, but I'm about to say $101 million guaranteed. I don't know how I would handle that. But in terms of what he brings to the table, I love this for him because he's so versatile. And the more you can do, the longer you're going to be able to hang around the NFL, and the more valuable you become. You talk about a corner in Devon Witherspoon that can play outside corner, he can play inside corner, he can blitz the quarterback, he can play the run rather well. You drop him back deep as a safety or in off coverage. He plays the ball rather well. So you're talking about a 3-time Pro Bowler, a second-team All-Pro player, a guy that's super versatile within this defense. Yes, you have to pay him, and he's one of the top corners in the game. So I like the fact that he's starting to move they're moving the needle down the field, so to speak, in terms of the salary for these cornerbacks, and it's just continue to elevate the position because you have to be versatile in today's game. He's one of the more versatile ones that we have in the NFL.
Important position, important player, of course. Winning a Super Bowl certainly helps. Witherspoon having a nice offseason as he gets ready for the 2026 upcoming season. Now, on the other side of that Super Bowl matchup, the Patriots, they also have a corner who's looking for a new deal. That's Christian Gonzalez. And ironically, these two have the same agent. So how does this breaking news today potentially affect Gonzalez and his new deal?
Well, you would think it would make the deal come more into picture for Gonzalez and the Patriots, but they're so far apart in where they stand in terms of the number. But at least now we know what the number is for Witherspoon, so now they have a floor or a ceiling, so to speak, to work around and try to find what works best for them and also Gonzalez. So we'll see how this plays out. Where Gonzalez has to show his wares is that he has to be out there consistently. We saw that with Witherspoon. He's always out there. Has some injury concerns a little bit this past season, but for the most part, he's always available. And Gonzalez has had those same questions, so that's probably where the trepidation is coming from the Patriots side of things. But in terms of pound-for-pound player, Gonzalez is every bit of worth where he was drafted when they took him in the first round because he's an outstanding lockdown corner. He maybe not plays the ball a lot like Witherspoon does, but definitely when teams shy his way, therein lies the difference in terms of the numbers, in terms of how many times he's going to get his hands on the football. But the fact that they have the same agent, I expect this deal to get done pretty soon, despite them being, let's say, coastal apart in where they are right now in negotiations.
Yeah, these things tend to have a little bit of a domino effect, and maybe that agent is looking for some new clients and can help us out with similar deals here at CBS. Emery, we appreciate you, and as we always say with these new contracts, it's about what the money says. And it says that Devon Witherspoon is now the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. We'll see how long that lasts because we'll see eventually where Christian Gonzalez slots here on this list. I'm Emily Proud. I hope you have been enjoying the football this week. Here's some life advice. Ignore the people who say that the preseason doesn't count. While they're technically right, any football we get, we make it count because football is back. Again, it's the preseason. None of this will matter, but it's back, and we have more action from around the league kicking off today. For those keeping track at home, that is 3 straight days of multiple football games to watch. I'm happy about it. I know somebody else who is happy about it. He joins us here on this show. Mike Renner loves to grind the tape from the preseason, and you're going to get some more tape today. Let's start with the Rams and Chiefs. I look at it, it would be a fun quarterback matchup in the regular season, but of course, neither starter is participating. So for the Rams, Sean McVay said that we will, though, see the first-round pick, Ty Simpson, get some action there. Where do you think Simpson stands as far as the backup job here in L.A.?
Yeah, it's him and Stetson Bennett there. Bennett's been there. This is his 4th season out in LA, and he was, a 4th-round pick. I know that a lot of people didn't think he was a pro quarterback, but he has been now for 4 years. So it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if this is almost a redshirt year for Ty Simpson. I go back to when Jordan Love was drafted into a similar situation where he was kind of going to be the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers. His first year, he was QB3 for the Packers. When, if Rodgers were to go down, it was not going to turn over to Jordan Love. They just kind of gave him that year to prepare to be the start, work on the little things you need to do to be an NFL quarterback so that you are ready when he took over. And hey, the plan ended up working out for the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. So it wouldn't surprise me if with the Rams, that's the exact same thing they do here with Ty Simpson. Don't put that pressure on him to prepare week to week. Just let him work on the things he needs to work on, knowing that year 3, year 4, that might be when he's called upon.
Which is certainly a benefit sitting behind an MVP, but you also need to take into consideration the fact that that MVP is 38 years old, going on 39. So we'll see. Just excited to be able to see Simpson suit up tonight. Now for the Chiefs, no Mahomes, of course, Andy Reid, though not really committal on the idea of him getting preseason work coming off that ACL tear, so still TBD. We could see him. Always the question, of course, Mike, is rest versus rust. So how do you think the Chiefs should handle their star QB in the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, this is Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. This isn't some other quarterback who's just trying to prove himself in the NFL. Mahomes doesn't need the reps. If anything, it wouldn't surprise me if they give him 1 series so we can go out there and prepare, do his pregame work, do everything to prepare like he's back at it, just to kind of get the confidence back because of that need, because you don't want to go into necessarily week 1 never having run through it before after that ACL surgery. But outside of 1 series where obviously you would protect him, you might even have to drop back pass for him just to really get his feet wet. I wouldn't play him whatsoever. There's just no use in subjecting him to any hits at this point in his career.
Yeah, certainly the goal is to get him ready to go week 1, especially considering who they play, of course, that against the Broncos. But we will see Justin Fields tonight, so that's going to be interesting. Meanwhile, we got the Jags in New Orleans. No starting quarterbacks in this one either, but we will see Spencer Rattler. He's, of course, pretty solid backup, started some games for the Saints. What do you think his future looks like there in New Orleans?
Yeah, I think this year they're going to try to make him the backup, especially given Tyler Shuck's injury history, right? There's a reason why he came out and he was 26 years old, because he got injured like 4 different times in college. So it behooves you to have a guy who's a capable backup. And I think that's what Rattler is at this point in his career. Even if he showed some high-end flashes at times on his tape, he was obviously very inconsistent last year, and that's why he ultimately got benched. But I do think that next year might be the year. You try to make him look as good as possible this preseason, and then maybe next year you can flip him for some sort of a pick, because that will be his contract year, and depending on how Tyler Shuck does this season. So I think that's ultimately Rattler's future, is he is your backup this year. And then if he really looks good, if he really has drawn some interest, then next offseason or next preseason, that's when you can flip him for some picks.
It's that perfect sweet spot, right? You want him to be good, so you can flip him for picks, but not too good that there's any sort of quarterback controversy that we're relitigating down in New Orleans. All right, so no Trevor, no Tyler, and no Tyson. Saints first-round rookie Jordan Tyson still dealing with that hamstring injury dating back to his college days, but just retweaked it last week. Where do you land on the concern meter? Maybe 1 to 10, 10 being most concerned about that lingering hammy.
Yeah, I know Kellen Moore said that the injuries were unrelated and that it was just a freak accident, but at this point in his career, with how much injury history he has, I don't think there's any more freak accidents with Jordan Tyson. This is a pattern, and this is why people were wary of when he was drafted in the top 10 last season, because to go through his injury history, as you see there on the screen, every single season of his collegiate career, he missed serious time with an injury, whether it was the ACL in 2022 that ended up costing him 2023 as well, the collarbone in 2024, and then the hamstring injury happened last October. He ended up trying to come back later in the season in November, only played 40 snaps across 2 games, was not himself. It was obviously hampering him. And then that took him all the way until April 17th at his pro day, that hamstring injury did. That is over 5 months that it took to come back from a hamstring injury, and he still didn't run a 40. And now it happens as soon as he gets ramped up for preseason once again in training camp. I am very worried. This isn't like the Mekhi Lemon hamstring injury where the guy's been a pinnacle of health throughout his collegiate career. I am very worried about Jordan Tyson because it is a pattern at this point in time, and hamstring injuries at that position, they just last longer than you'd like them to.
And he's reportedly seeking multiple opinions on it, which makes you think it's not just a simple hamstring injury. I did ask you, though, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most concerning. You give me a number?
Oh, that's a 9. I mean, we're almost at a 10. It's about as concerned as you can be without a true, diagnosis of 3 to 4 months this guy's out.
He was a top 10 pick, too. So if we gave maybe the Saints some truth serum, how do you think they're feeling about this big investment right now?
I think they're worried. I mean, truthfully, this was what you were worried about. The tape said this guy should be a top 10 pick, but everyone was like, what are you going to do with a guy who cannot stay healthy? And it's just multiple different ways. And so with a hamstring injury, usually it's, I remember Christian Watson with the Green Bay Packers had a bunch of injuries throughout his career, and there were imbalances in just the way this guy was put together muscularly. It would not be surprised if that's similar with Jordan Tyson. Like at this point, with how much he has suffered injury-wise, I just think there is, some guys are injury prone, some guys are healthy. It seems like he is one of those guys who might just always be on that injury report.
All right, we will see some rookie wide receivers when the Ravens take on the Eagles. You've got Jacoby Lane, Elijah Sherratt for Baltimore. How important are those two to this Declan Doyle offense?
Yeah, there was obviously something that the Ravens were searching for when they drafted these two guys, and it was size. If you look at this receiving core, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, even Tez Walker, it's like these are undersized speedsters. These are not guys who, in the red zone, you could throw a fade to. You could throw a slant to out of the slot. There are just things when you have two of those guys offensively you can't do. And also, what's growing in more importance in today's NFL is reducing receivers into the formation, then using them as blockers. You're not going to put Zay Flowers just outside your tight end and ask him to take on a linebacker, right? So for all those reasons, they had to add some bigger dudes to the receiving core, and they did just that. I mean, I'm interested to see kind of who wins the role, because there's really only one position between the two that they are fighting for. I thought Sherratt was probably the more NFL-ready guy, whereas Jacoby Lane was the more imposing physical specimen. He was the more impressive athlete. He was just a junior coming out, younger, raw, needs a little bit more seasoning. So if Lane wins that job, truthfully, I'd be excited as a Ravens fan, because that means that he is coming along faster than probably they expected when they drafted him.
All right, tonight we have just been talking about all the offensive matchups that we get, and the Cowboys, well, they're going to be showing off their rookie defenders. Brian Schottenheimer saying that both of his first-round rookies will see the field. We got Caleb Downs, Malachi Lawrence. What do you need to see from them that indicates that they can have a real impact for this Dallas defense?
I don't need to see anything from Caleb Downs, I'll be honest. I know he's going to have a real impact. He could be their best defensive player this year, and that is already known if you watched him, truthfully, as a freshman at Alabama all the way through his junior year at Ohio State. It's why he went so highly as a safety. So he will transform this nickel position, which is an incredibly valuable position in today's NFL, because not only is it a coverage position, it is a run defense position where the Cowboys were so disastrously bad last year. Obviously, just a lot of issues all throughout this lineup, but he should transform and be able to improve both run and pass defense. Malachi Lawrence, I'm more just looking for how he fares as a pure pass rusher, because that's his role year one. If you watch him on tape at UCF, you know that is why they drafted him in the first round. It's not because what he's going to do as a run defender, it's because what you see there on the screen, the guy has the juice to win as a pass rusher at the next level. So he is your second wave. Your second wave of pass rushers this year for the Cowboys could even be better than their first wave was this year. They added a lot to that room. I'm excited to see, because over half of their starters this year now are new from a season ago, which is a good thing if you watch this defense at all. So it really is just, can Malachi Lawrence get home consistently as a pass rusher against backups? Because if he can do that, well, he can be a big impact guy in that third down role.
Looking forward to hearing from you after all of this action. I'm sure you'd be grinding the tape for Malachi Lawrence and everything that is happening tonight. Mike Renner, we appreciate you. Get ready for some more preseason action.